It doesn't start with a rumor. It starts with a photograph, a group picture from Northwestern University, a student salsa club. Everyone's smiling, relaxed, frozen in time. Meghan Markle is there standing in the back row like any other college student. Nothing about the image looks unusual at first glance. It feels ordinary, harmless, just another memory from campus life. But photographs don't age the way people do. When the names in that photo are followed forward in time, something strange happens. The classmates standing beside her didn't land where her story says they should. Today, many of them are in their early to mid-50s. Their own records, graduation dates, career timelines, archived profiles place their births in the early 1970s. That makes them 8 to 10 years older than Meghan Markle's official age. And that's where the math stops working. For this photo to make sense, she would have to be a freshman or sophomore surrounded almost entirely by people approaching 30. Not one or two, not the occasional older student returning to school, but the majority. In a traditional undergraduate program, that's not common. It's not typical, and it's not something that happens by accident. So, the question isn't dramatic. It's simple. How does a 22-year-old end up consistently surrounded by people nearly a decade older? If this were just one photo, it would be easy to shrug off. Universities are full of different paths. People transfer, people return, people take breaks. But this wasn't one moment. The same names appear again and again. Alumni newsletters from the timeless Meghan Markle alongside the same group in multiple campus activities. Different events, different years, same circle. This wasn't a brief overlap. It was sustained proximity. The people around her weren't passing through. They were her peer group. They moved through the same years together, attended the same functions, appeared in the same records. And when you trace those classmates forward to reunions today, the contrast becomes impossible to ignore. This isn't about how old someone looks. It's about when their lives started. Many of these classmates finished high school in the late 1980s. Their timelines are set, their ages are fixed, and they cluster together around her. At some point, coincidence stops being a convincing explanation. The story quietly shifts here because if Meghan Markle wasn't simply adjacent to older students, but socially aligned with them over time, then the question changes. It's no longer why were they older? It becomes why was she there? On paper, Meghan Markle's biography is clean. She graduates from high school in 1999. She graduates from Northwestern in 2003. Her birth year is listed as 1981. Placed alone, the timeline flows. Nothing looks out of place. But timelines don't exist in isolation. They exist beside other timelines. And when hers is placed next to the people she studied with, something has to give. Her classmates' high school diplomas date back nearly a decade earlier than hers. Their lives began sooner. Their adult years started sooner. Yet they meet her not as mentors or outliers, but as peers. That creates tension. Either an entire social group formed around someone significantly younger year after year, or the timeline we've been given is compressed because dates don't argue, they don't speculate, they don't adjust themselves to fit a story. When multiple timelines intersect and don't align, someone isn't standing in the right year. And that's where this story truly begins. Not with an accusation, but with a fracture. A moment where the official version no longer rests comfortably on the facts beneath it. From here on, every new detail will either repair that fracture or widen it. Once the timeline fracture is visible, another layer quietly comes into view. For years, alternative birth years have circulated alongside Meghan Markle's official biography. Not shouted, not hidden either, just present, persistent enough to resurface again and again without ever fully disappearing. The most common date places her birth in 1977. Others shift it slightly earlier, 1976, and in some records it slides back to 1975. What matters here is not which date is correct. What matters is that these dates cluster tightly together. They don't jump wildly across decades. They don't contradict one another. They all point to the same conclusion that she may be several years older than officially stated. These dates appear in old event programs, in mismatched alumni records, in documents that don't line up cleanly with the polished biography that came later. None of them come from a single source. None of them stand alone. And that's important. False information tends to collapse under its own weight. It fades. It contradicts itself. It disappears when challenged. This didn't. For nearly a decade, the same alternative years have continued to surface, quietly coexisting with the official version, not confirmed, but never fully erased. At some point, persistence becomes a signal. If even one of those earlier dates is accurate, the implications are immediate. A 4 to 6 year gap opens up. Not a gap in headlines, not a gap in interviews, but a gap in the public timeline. These would be years before Northwestern, years before acting credits, years before a carefully shaped public identity took form. And missing years matter, not because they imply wrongdoing, but because they exist outside the narrative we've been shown. They are unaccounted time, years that don't appear in the official progression from student to actress to duchess. In industries built on image, age isn't just a number. It determines roles, opportunities, perception, marketability. This isn't unusual. It's structural. When a life becomes a brand, timelines are assets, and assets are managed. So, the question isn't why someone might want to compress a few years. The real question is why those years were never fully explained away. Because gaps don't accuse, they invite attention. Every public figure has a past. Old photos, school memories, yearbooks tucked away in archives. But with Meghan Markle, those memories don't surface evenly. They arrive in waves. High school photos from Immaculate Heart Academy don't trickle out over time. They appear in carefully timed bursts. A senior portrait from 1999, a group photo on campus. Polished, clean, perfectly framed for publication. On their own, they mean nothing, but timing gives them weight. These images tend to reappear during moments of scrutiny, a biography release, a controversial interview, a renewed focus on her early life. Each time questions rise, familiar photos resurface as if pulled forward to steady the narrative. Some come from alumni archives, others from former classmates who remain silent for years only to suddenly provide images when attention spikes. To the casual observer, it looks like nostalgia. To anyone watching closely, it feels more deliberate. Not fabricated, not fake, just selected. Because when a story is under pressure, the past doesn't always emerge naturally. Sometimes it's placed exactly where it's needed. By now, this story has moved far beyond a single number. This isn't just about whether Meghan Markle is older than her official biography suggests. It's about what happens when a life is transformed into a narrative, and that narrative is managed with care. Timelines are smoothed. Photos appear when needed. Records adjust quietly. Gaps remain unexplained. None of this proves deception on its own. But together, it forms a pattern, a sequence of edits, omissions, and coincidences that stack neatly on top of one another. Not randomly, but purposefully. As if the public version of events has been shaped the way stories often are, polished, refined, and protected from rough edges. The documents still exist. The photographs still sit in archives, and the people who knew the earlier chapters are still out there. Many choosing silence. Maybe the official version is true. Maybe it isn't, but one thing is certain. The more tightly a story is controlled, the more it invites curiosity. Because every life has a first draft. And sometimes the most revealing version isn't the one that's published. It's the one we were never meant to read. And the next time the past resurfaces right on cue in perfect sync with the present. Remember this. Stories don't just tell us what happened, they tell us what someone wants us to see. And sometimes what's missing speaks the loudest of all.